message for the drug dealers, the gang members, and the criminal cartels that are terrorizing all of our citizens in cities and different places throughout the United States. And the message is that your days are numbered. We're getting you out. We will build a great wall, and we will stop illegal immigration for good, and we will have doors in that wall. And people will come into that wall, and they'll come through that wall by the tens of thousands. But they're coming in legally.
That was President-elect Donald Trump over the weekend at his final thank you tour, promising to build a border wall and to stop illegal immigration. The president-elect's promises are needed now more than ever because, according to a new report from U.S. Customs and Border Protection, illegal immigration along the southwest border continues to increase. In November, a total of 47,214 individuals were apprehended on our southwest border. That was November alone, which is higher than previous months. Joining me now is Kansas Secretary of State, who's been meeting with the President-elect Donald Trump, Mr. Chris Kobach. Chris, thanks for joining us. Boy, I'm looking at these numbers, 47,214 in November, 46,000 in October, 39,000 in September. So 39, 46, 47, 200. What's going on at the border?
You know, this is a really interesting phenomenon, and it's something new because we've never in our history had a president-elect coming into office promising to increase enforcement levels and to build a wall. So it's interesting what happens is that the alien smuggling networks and the illegal aliens themselves will often react to what's happening in the American political scene. And it appears, we don't know for certain, but it appears that many are saying, look, I'm going to try to get in now before the wall is built, and I'm going to try to get in and get embedded in a community now before they start ramping up enforcement under a Trump administration. But it shows that they are taking seriously President Trump's promise to restore the rule of law, and he is going to do that.
All right, Chris, some of the things that strike me with an open border as we have, and not open, but a Swiss cheese board, they call it, terrorism is a concern.
Yeah.
Our sovereignty is a concern. Yeah. Drug trafficking is a concern. Human trafficking is a concern. Can we stop most of these, all of these, any of these?
You know, we can dramatically reduce them, and in some cases, in some parts of the border, we can bring them to a complete halt. And I say that because in the San Ysidro sector, for example, that's down by San Diego, there's a 30-mile section there that has a double wall. It is the creme de la creme of border enforcement. It's down to virtually zero crossings there. So yes, in some places we can stop it completely. And one thing you've mentioned is that when you have alien smuggling, usually the coyotes will have the vehicles that the illegal aliens are in stuffed with drugs as well, or they'll force the aliens to carry the drugs in backpacks along with them over the border. So yeah, if we stop the alien smuggling, we're going to drastically reduce the drug smuggling, and that's good for America.
Chris, General John Kelly is Donald Trump's choice to lead the Department of Homeland Security. What are the plans? What does he want to do?
You know, I think he's shown a very keen interest in the terrorism that exists south of our border in some parts of Central and South America. And so that awareness of a very real terrorism threat on our southern border is going to be very important. I think, you know, having spoken with him and having spoken with the president-elect, I think that you're going to see a real focus on securing Americans not only from illegal aliens who may be criminals and illegal aliens who may be taking jobs from Americans, but also those terrorists who are using our southern border. And we've been aware of this for, you know, more than 15 years, of many cases of terrorists coming across our southern border. And it's so easy for them to do right now, but under a Trump administration, that's definitely going to change. It's going to become a lot harder.
Have we just been lucky? Have we been lucky that we've caught a lot of these people who've come across the border? As you point out, terrorists, ISIS has said, use the U.S.'s southern border as a method of getting in. Have we just been lucky it hasn't been worse?
I guess so. You could say that, but, you know, it has been quite bad. There have been a number of terrorists that we've caught, and I think anyone who's familiar with the southern border knows that for every individual we catch, there's probably at least 3 or 4 that we don't catch. And so I can only imagine the number of terrorists who have already successfully entered over the southern border. And, you know, another area where terrorists have been abusing the system is the refugee program. Just since the early 90s, there have been 18 major terrorists who have fraudulently used our refugee program to get into this country, including some very big names and masterminds of the 1993 attack on the World Trade Center, for example. example. So the blind sheikh, another example. So we have been, I guess you could say, lucky, but bear in mind, I don't want to say we're that lucky because there are almost certainly a significant number of terrorists who've already abused our immigration system and are here.
All right, right. Look, according to the Customs and Border Protection, CBP, in 2016, I'm talking just this year, 408,870 individuals along the southwest border alone have been apprehended, and that's up from 331,000 in full year 15. Are people trying to get across the border before President-elect Donald Trump is sworn into office?
I think they're taking very seriously the promise of Mr. Trump to build a wall. And once that wall is built, it's going to be a lot harder to get across that border. So I think there is undoubtedly an uptick from that. Now, there may be other things involved as well. It's interesting, when you look at the flow of people across our southern border, whenever President Obama or some people in the Senate would make a promise of an amnesty, that would cause a surge because aliens would be trying to come in illegally to claim the amnesty once they got here. So there's definitely a very quick response south of the border whenever we change anything in our policies or we indicate that there may be a change coming soon.
I got about 20 seconds or so, Chris, so we can outline this. There will be a wall, not a fence, but a wall.
Absolutely. You may have there will be a physical barrier, let's put it this way, and the nature of the barrier will depend on the terrain. So if you've got very steep, hilly country, it might be different than where you have in the flatter areas like around San Diego. But there will be a barrier on the southern border, no question about it.
All right, Chris Kobach, thank you very much. Good stuff.